Hello, my name's Donna Gowland and I'm here to talk to you today about how to support your student through the Maths and English resits in the summer series of 2025 at the City of Liverpool College. So today we're going to talk about lots of exciting things like let me go through that, like how to create a supportive home environment, effective study strategies for maths and English, the resources and the support that are available for our students, how to manage stress and anxiety that the students might feel when it comes up to exam series, and maintaining motivation and positivity during this time. Okay, so let's start by acknowledging the challenges. There are a lot of barriers for our students who are resitting their maths and English with us. Resitting exams can impact a student's confidence and motivation and self-esteem quite dramatically. And for some of our students, it can be the second or the third, and sometimes even the fourth time that they've resat either their maths or their English. And obviously that can lead to feelings of disappointment, feelings of frustration, embarrassment, or anger or maths anxiety, and it's really crucial that we acknowledge all of those feelings and create a safe space for them to express them, and that we remember we've all had instances in our lives, I'm sure, where things haven't gone as we've planned. I think it took me, I don't even know, maybe 4 attempts to pass my driving test, which if you've ever seen me drive, you'll probably understand why. But we all have setbacks, we all have things that don't go as we'd expected or don't go to the timescale in which we hope that they will go, and that's just a natural part of life. But it's also very important that we legitimise all of the feelings that people experience within those situations. So it's really, really crucial at this point where students can feel really demotivated when we're coming up to the exam series to remember that this is just a setback and another stepping stone on the road to success, that it isn't a failure by any stretch of the imagination. And there are some really easy ways in which we can start to combat those feelings of anxiety and disappointment. National data shows that there is a very, very clear link between attendance and success, and the higher the attendance, the better the grade. We know that classically this is a period of time where attendance really dips in this post-Christmas period, and obviously in the post-half term, as we're getting longer days and the weather's hopefully going to start getting a bit better, that can impact upon attendance as well. So we need your support more than ever to ensure that our students are attending their maths and their English classes, and they are attending all of their classes and putting all of their efforts into it. Students with 100% attendance are almost 3 times more likely to achieve maths and English GCSE compared to those with attendance between 65 and 70%. So it's really a message that is worth repeating. And we've got parents' evenings coming up in the next couple of weeks, and more consultation with yourselves. So hopefully between us all we can get that message to the students and just really reiterate the importance of good attendance moving on to the exam series. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the importance of getting your student into the classroom. So let's have a little think about some of the things that you can do outside of the classroom to support as well. So here are some tips for you for creating a positive home environment to foster a good relationship with English and Maths GCSE resits. Open communication is obviously the first thing and really key. Talk openly and honestly about their concerns and listen without judgment and offer any encouragement that you can. Designated study space. Now that might not always be possible in your home environment, and if you find that that is not a possibility, then obviously we have got hubs, we've got learning resource centres at each of our 5 campuses that the students are always very, very welcome in. So there is always a safe, warm and comforting space at college if they need that quiet space to be able to do some more work. If it is a possibility to designate some study space at home, then creating a quiet cluster-free space where students can focus can be really helpful in this period. Consistent routine is also really key. Help them to establish a regular study schedule, including breaks and downtime. So consistency and doing a little bit from now on up until the exams in May, June, can really help to break down some of the trickier concepts. And if they're only doing it in smaller chunks of learning, then sometimes that can be far more palatable and far more manageable than doing longer bouts of revision. Balanced lifestyle, so obviously encouraging healthy eating, regular exercise and sufficient sleep can all help as well. And we know that these are very vital components of concentration and physical and mental health well-being. And celebrating those smaller wins, acknowledging anything that is going well, celebrating their progress no matter how small it seems. This really does move mountains in terms of building confidence and reinforcing positive habits. Okay, so specifically for maths, some tips to help support with maths resits. Pinpoint the specific areas that they struggled with previously. So this could be done by reviewing past papers or by having a look at initial assessments or landmark assessment results. The students have just done the landmark assessment 3 with us just before half term, so they'll be getting the results from those in the next couple of weeks. So using that as a springboard to find out the specific areas that your student needs to work on could be really useful at this time. Targeted practice, so focusing on those weaker areas, using textbooks, online resources, practice questions to build understanding. Seek help. Don't hesitate to seek help from teachers, tutors, or there's a wealth of online resources out there like the Khan Academy, Corbett Maths, Maths Genie, Pearson edXL's online resources are really good as well. There's lots of YouTube and TikTok channels such as Hegarty Maths, the GCSE Maths tutor. Break down the more complex topics. So complicated topics are much more manageable when they are broken down into smaller chunks. Real world application. This is something that can be really useful to students as well, because oftentimes it can be quite hard to connect the more abstract ideas of maths to their real world application. So using and finding opportunities to use real life mathematical concepts, so like maths in action, maths in real world action. So if you're, I don't know, painting a wall, or if you are building something, or if you're calculating the percentage of something, or doing fractions for how much birthday cake you're going to eat, or anything like that, just try and embed as much mathematics as you can into the students' everyday lives. That can help to make learning more engaging and just give them that wide topic area of maths. Okay, so what support do we offer? So obviously, as we're going closer to the exams, we will be putting on more revision sessions and site-by-site specific sessions. So please get in touch with your maths teacher to find out more information about that. We do have something called the Maths Power Hours, and they are smaller supportive sessions with a member of our maths team. So at the moment they run from 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock in the Learning Exchange LRC, so the Learning Resource Centre, from 9 till 11 at the Learning Resource Centre in our Duke Street campus, Wednesday 3 till 4, Friday 11 till 12 at Clarence Street, and Friday 1 till 3 at our Arts campus on Myrtle Street. Again, that's in our Learning Resource Centre. So we've got a VLE site as well, which you can access off our main college website, and each of the students uses their own login details to access something called MyLearn, and they will get information that will link them to the VLE from that, and that's a virtual learning environment. And on that website they will find all sorts of information and suggestions to help with their maths revision. Somebody clicking outside, which I hope you can't hear too much. Also, we've got a program called Century Tech, and Century Tech is a really useful platform for maths revision because it gives you specific pathways to help improve your understanding of mathematical concepts. So all of our students at the start of the year have done an initial assessment which gave them a bespoke individual pathway and recommended areas for those students to work on. You can access it from your home computer or from any other computer by going onto centurytech.co.uk, putting that into your search engine, and then logging on with Office 365. If you've logged on using your college credentials, it should automatically come up with your previous information, but if not, you can log on as outlined on the page there. So Century Tech is a really useful platform because it has lots of smaller little nuggets that are distinctly designed to match the skills and the areas where students' initial assessments came up as areas to be worked on. So within Century Tech, all of these different nuggets come up with the GCSE, the foundation level and the higher level papers. There's also options for functional skills as well, but obviously we don't have many students doing that. So the nuggets are all mapped to the key areas and concepts that you will study in the exam. So as you can see on the screen in front of you, there are lots and lots of different smaller nuggets of the topics, breaking it down into specific skills, and there are lots of videos explaining the concepts as well as practical examples and answers for you to have a go at. So undertaking a couple of those nuggets is a really useful way to make sure that you're consolidating the learning on any topic. So if your student is able to access those, and they can access them in college, they can access them on the phone, you can access it on your home computer as well. That's just a really good way of doing some smaller, very bespoke, specific revision that will break everything down into more manageable chunks, but also really support and consolidate the learning that the students are undertaking in the classroom. Okay, so as I said, recommendations to get the very best out of every one of your maths lessons. The best way of doing it is making sure you are having a go at doing a 15-minute nugget on the topic before the start of each lesson, and then a 15-minute nugget on Century Tech after each session to make sure you've understood the topics that you've gone over in the lesson and to make sure you feel comfortable with it. If your student gets in the habit of doing that for every lesson between now and the exam, that will give them a really specific and clear idea of which topics from the syllabus they are really familiar with, and those that maybe they need to spend a little bit more time on, those that need a little bit more attention. Okay, so on to English. So obviously English exams are slightly different because we only have 2 exams for English, not 3 like we have with maths, but the skills that we need to incorporate are very different, so our tips are a little bit different. So the biggest one is reading regularly, because each of the different exams will have a text. So the first exam, paper 1, will have 1 fiction text, and paper 2 will have 2 non-fiction texts, which could be from different time periods. They could be related on theme, they could be related on genre. So getting your student to read widely in fiction from the 19th century to the present day, and news reports, online articles, blogs, posts, anything thematically interesting, the environment, fast fashion, social media, any sort of topic. Reading widely and wildly is a really good way of ensuring that you have got those skills to be able to understand and to maintain concentration for the time it takes to read the text in the exam. Engaging with book talk, online resources, read-alongs on YouTube. Stephen Powell does some really good read-alongs of film noirs and summaries of books. So that's a really nice little recommendation if you want to dip your toe into some literature and think about what types of books might be appealing to you. Build up the reading so that the text does not feel daunting on the day. That's a really big tip. I don't know about your students, but my daughters don't necessarily do as much reading now as they used to, so it can be quite a hard task to get them to engage with fiction particularly. I'm a bit embarrassed to say. But one of the techniques that I do to engage them within that is just try and buy them and pick out things that they're more interested in. So my eldest daughter's really interested in fashion, so I buy her a lot of books about fashion and send her a lot of articles about fashion. So it's just creating that familiarity and that interest in reading. Practice writing. So in the first paper, the students will write a story, and in the second paper, they will write 2 transactional pieces. When we're talking about transactional writing, that is writing with a purpose. So it could be a newspaper report, it could be a letter, it could be a speech, it could be an article or a blog. And it will have a particular audience and a particular topic that the student needs to write about. So practicing writing in any of those different types, focusing on grammar, punctuation and structure is a really, really important technique. Using past paper questions is another good way of ensuring familiarity with the types of products you are likely to get in the exam. Another point on that, analysing text, practicing analysing texts and identifying the key themes and understanding the author's purpose in writing is another very, very valuable technique to use. Seeking feedback, asking teachers and tutors to provide feedback on written work. Obviously, all of our landmark assessments have SMART targets and areas for the students to develop. So just really focusing in on those areas that have been identified by your tutors and ensuring that you're working on those and getting the support for your students is really key. Vocabulary building. This is really, really important, particularly for students where English might be an additional language, or for students who might not have the same access to English text at home. Use things like PowerPoint Live, translation, Google Translate, translation software to familiarise yourself with language used in the exams and in the texts and the questions particularly, and familiarise yourself in maybe your home language as well as English if that is a barrier, if that is going to be a barrier to success in the summer exams. Okay, next we are thinking about support for English. So again, college support. If anybody needs specific support, talk to the students' teachers and talk to the students' progress coach. They can provide tailored guidance and support. Again, like we said with maths, there's lots of online resources that can be really helpful. BBC Bite Size is a brilliant resource for GCSE English. Khan Academy again has some really good resources, and GCSE Pod is very good as well. The exam board that we use for our GCSE English language is Educash, and there are lots of resources and videos on their website, and I've put the link there as well, so that's quite a useful one to have a look at. Also, the college's VLE books page is really good for fiction books, good for exam support books, and good for newspapers, articles, online resources. So anything that will help to foster that love of literacy and that reading and those reading skills will be really helpful. Managing pre-exam stress and anxiety. So we all know that the nearer the exams are, the more mindful we will have to be about stress and anxiety. These are big times for our students. These are very, very important, and obviously for some of our students, they've done their GCSEs last year, so this feels a little bit repetitive, this feels a little bit regressive in terms of where they are or where they want to be. So trying to encourage that mindfulness, time management, stress management, and just validating how they are feeling and supporting them in any way we can is just so important. Positive self-talk. We have a lot of students who particularly have maths anxiety. Maths anxiety is a really big thing. So encouraging positive self-talk and reminding them of their past successes is a really, really good thing to do. As human beings, we are all more prone to thinking about the negative and focusing upon the negative aspects of ourselves. It's possibly easier to do that than to big ourselves up and think about how great we are and how well things are going. So particularly in this pre-exam period, just try to be celebrating those small wins and just being as mindful as you can to everything that might cause stress and anxiety at this time. Also, another good way of keeping a good balance between positivity and well-being is joining in with the college community. So our student union and our learning centres have lots of events, lots of clubs and lots of organisations to get involved with. So getting the students involved and having fun and not making it all about pressure and about exams and about revision and about success can be really helpful means of distracting and diverting the students' attention away from any more harmful thoughts or any anxieties or pressures that they might be feeling at this time. If anxiety is overwhelming though, do consider seeking professional help. So obviously in the first port of call, we've got our progress coaches, we've got our mental health first aiders at each site, we've got our online resources, we've got our counselling team, we've got lots of student services. So please, if you're unsure about the services available, do get in touch with the progress coaches and the progress leaders, who will be very happy to help you and signpost those student services that you might need. Okay, so helping them stay motivated. We all know that motivation can be a big barrier to many things. So it is best to be really realistic. Break down the overall goal into smaller achievable steps. So starting revising from February is a really, really good technique, even if it's 15 minutes of watching online videos twice a week for one topic for maths, one topic for English, then that will really support and consolidate learning as we're getting closer to the exam period. Focus on progress, celebrate progress no matter how small, encourage students to visualize achievement and success, maintain a positive attitude and offer consistent encouragement, and remember the why factor. So remind them of their longer term goals and how this is only a stepping stone to help them get to it. And as we all know in life, something that seems very painful and like it takes a long time at the time that you're doing it, you barely remember it later on. So it doesn't matter how many times it takes you to get to the end result. The most important thing when you get there is that you've got there and you've kept going. So encouraging that is really good. Okay, so the next thing, so you can see the dates in front of you for the exams. So we've got our GCSE English exam dates and our GCSE Maths dates there. Please make sure that you are not booking any holidays or any other events during those times. I have to put my glasses on because it's really small on the screen so I can't see them. So bear with me for 1 second. So Friday the 23rd of May is paper 1 for English, and Friday I can't see what that is that 6th of June is paper 2, then Thursday the 15th of May, Wednesday the 4th of June, and then Wednesday the 11th of June for the maths exams. So 5 exams. Get them all out of the way by the middle of June, and then that will be a lovely, successful summer for your students. Okay, so frequently asked questions. So we do get a lot of questions about maths and English. So I'd just like to try and run through a few of those before we finish, if that's okay. First one, is it okay to book a holiday during exam time? No, is the answer to that. The student term finishes on Friday the 27th of June, so as we've just seen, that's a good couple of weeks after our final maths exam. So please, where possible, book all of your holidays after this date. If a student misses an exam, they miss out on half of the chance of a grade 4 for English and a third of the chance of a grade 4 for maths. Will there be additional support available? Yes, we will have revision sessions for maths and English. We will focus on those in the Easter and May holidays, but we shall also put some more support sessions on in this next half term, so keep an eye out for that. Oh yeah, so I just said that. So if you contact your student's teacher, you'll find out more on those in the next couple of weeks. Can you guarantee my student will get their access arrangements? If your student was here last year and has existing arrangements, then it's worth contacting the learning support team to make sure that those are in place for this year. If your student wasn't with us last year, we need to make sure that you have provided the Form 8 from the school and that the student has undertaken all of the formal assessments with our learning support team as soon as possible. So the referral deadline from our teaching staff was the 14th of February. So the learning support team are working through those all now. So if you are concerned that your student should have access arrangements and you want to check to make sure that they are at least in the system and going through on the system, please do get in touch with our learning support team or via your maths and English teachers just to make sure. We will endeavour to ensure that access arrangements are provided in line with the JCQ and the exam requirements. What happens if my student cannot attend an exam due to illness, personal issues or family issues? If there are genuine extenuating circumstances, please alert exams at live.colc.ac.uk and the student may be eligible for special consideration. If it is a medical emergency or something that we can have evidence to back it up, please do give in evidence with the application. So as soon as the exam series starts, there will be information coming through from the exams team about making those sorts of requests. So do bear that in mind as well. How will I find out where the exams are being held? You will receive confirmation of exam arrangements from the exam team and any access arrangement that your student has been given before the exam series start. So that information might come out via college email, it might come out via text message, it might come out through other portals. So just make sure that your student is accessing every different portal of information that they have with the college, because it would be awful to miss out on that sort of information. And as soon as the information comes through, if there's anything that you're not sure of, or if you don't get that information, do get in touch with our exams team to make sure you've got all of the up-to-date information that you need for the exam series. When will I find out the GCSE results? So GCSE results day is Thursday, August the 21st this year. What do I do if I need to request a remark, a resit, or a copy of the papers back? So on the day, if you contact your student's maths or English teacher or contact exams, then they can access our post-exam service. There's usually high demand and quite a tight turnaround for getting the exam papers back and getting the getting the remarks done. Obviously, the November resit is a possibility, but we have an eligibility criteria for that, which we will discuss with you if that is something that we need to do for the November series. But it's just to put all of these things on the table now. If you get to the exams and you do want to request one of the post-exam services, just be mindful that from GCSE results day, everybody is involved with enrolment. So obviously we endeavour to get everything done as quickly and as efficiently as we humanly can. But our teams are very, very busy. So if you're not getting the information, just keep giving us a nudge until you get it, because obviously we're only human, and I'd hate for people to miss out on things just because it's a busy time of year. Okay, right, so I think that's about everything. So thank you very much for listening. So I've put my email on there. I've put Jeff, he's our Assistant Dean of Foundation Studies for Maths, and Elise Thomas, she's our Assistant Dean for English. So if you have any specific maths or English related questions or queries, you can direct them towards those. If you have any more curriculum based ones, or any wider issues, you can get in touch with me as well. Don't forget, as previously outlined, if you've got any learning support questions or exams questions, please feel free to reach out to our exams team and our learning support team as well. Progress coaches and progress leaders are also on hand to help with any wellbeing and any student support services. And our learning resource teams are very, very helpful at giving you information and signposting information to brilliant maths and English resources. So thank you very much for listening. I've kind of slightly gone over the 20 minutes that I hoped this would take for you, but if you've got to the end of it, very well done. I'd just like to thank you so much for your continued support for our student success. Obviously, student success is at the heart of everything we do, and we wouldn't be here without the students. And we all want the exam series of 2025 to be a really, really positive outcome for all of our learners. So on behalf of the City of Liverpool College, I would just like to take the opportunity again of thanking you for your support, and thanks again, and just take care, and we'll speak to you all soon. All right, thanks very much.